Welcome to the Visual Cast, coming at you from California. I'm your host, Alon Hammer, aka Rem. The Visual Cast is a hybrid podcast where we sit down with some of the best, most interesting, and most exciting visual artists from all over the world. We chat about life, art, visuals, software, hardware, systems, crystals, alien downloads, spirituality, and catalysts. It's essentially a massive nerd out. But the guests also do a set where we dive into their computer and get an up-and-close look at how they make art, how they perform art, or really anything they want to share with us. I really hope you guys enjoy this episode. To support us, please like and subscribe, follow us on Instagram, and leave us a review on Spotify. Now, without any further ado, here's the Visual Cast.
The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride.
Very special guest, a friend of mine, lovely human being, super sweet and kind, super OG VJ, over 2 decades, which is, the OGs of the OGs, and a great and super great VJ. Yeah, super amazing VJ. Blake Hudson, Phosphorus Visuals, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Happy to see you. It's been a minute.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I was just on your side of the world a month ago, but I wasn't not super close to you, still pretty far away, but in New Zealand, and
just across the ditch.
Just across. What is it called? That there's like a name for the channel, no? Like that's in between New Zealand and Australia. What is it called?
The ditch? I don't know, I'm not sure.
The ditch? Is it the ditch? The ditch?
Oh, it's what we call it the ditch, you know?
Ditch.
Like, New Zealand's just another state of Australia, isn't
it? Yeah. Like Canada is another state of America, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited to have you. We, ever since we met in Nick's Festival, I've been a huge fan of yours. You're kind of one of these really interesting characters that I never had heard of you or seen your work until I got booked for this festival, and then was like extremely excited and surprised to see that you've been doing it for so long and have this amazing record of really awesome shows, and then getting to know you at the festival, it was like, oh, this guy like uses all the cool shit and knows all the good stuff. So it was really fun to kind of spend that time with you and get to know you a little bit more and collaborate. And I was saying to you before we started that the show that we did, if I can find it here on your Instagram, was one of my favorite shows that I ever did. And it was in part to, just having that amazing collaboration. It's not this one. Damn, you've been working a lot, Blake.
Yeah, pretty busy, the North Queensland scene. We've got a lot of great festivals here. So this is us. Yeah, this is a nice collaboration at the end of the festival, and lots
and
of
Imri, shout out Lumos Visuals, who was on Lumos, the podcast a while ago. Yeah. So much fun. Yeah. I think it's like, and you've been playing a lot with him over the past little amount of time, which I think is great.
Yeah, definitely. After Nick's, we've just been like, okay, Imri, will you come with me wherever I'm going? You're going to be there with me, and we've got like a nice skill sharing where he does stuff that I don't do. So it's like, well, we definitely complement each other well by just not doing the same thing. So it's fantastic.
It's so nice to find that with especially Imri, who happens to be just a lovely, beautiful person, but in general, just to find people that you can collaborate with where there's no clash, there's no like. The ego is almost tamed because you're like, oh, I can't do what that person does. Like I need that to make the show better, not need is the wrong word, but that will make the show better, and it's like, and then you can kind of get into this like, okay, now how do we do it together? How do we, mix it? Do you have any like, ways of doing that? Like when you play with other people, like do you find different things that make the mix better?
Well, I mean, I think when we've all got our strengths, and it's like, I guess with work with Imri, he's a young guy, we're still developing his style in a way, and it's like, you know, like I've really enjoyed sort of seeing him prosper and seeing him sort of develop really strong skills, and working together. It's like we were just sort of like putting things together, and we just would normally just be in the mix together as opposed to us individually doing a set, and because what he does is works quite well with what I do in a way. So it's just a matter of working together well and just feeling it out. It depends on the time of night and the music that's getting played and how we can kind of work with. Yeah, that's me. Mushroom Valley. Yeah, it's a big one for me. It's
Nice.
been a really big.
Big
that's
stage.
where I basically learned so much of the skills that I've got these days. It's like a exponential growth that's happened in the last 5 years.
From Mushroom
years.
Valley, you felt that?
Yeah. Big
What do you think? What do you think about it? Just the way that they they give you. Yeah. What do you? How? Why?
Well, yeah. It's just with like this. That was like the first mapping experience that I did was with Mushroom Valley, because they always had like a big
Image.
big facade that was painted. Like a spray paint mural, and it's like, oh, can you do projection on this? I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess so. Here we go. I'm used to like screens and just like stretching Leica everywhere, and it was like the go-to. And then all of a sudden the mapping thing come along, and it's like, well, I guess I can do this. And it was just like learning all the different techniques over time and collaborating with other artists that would come. That's what I guess what I learned the most was that those people that would come, the other artists like Chuck and Ruben and Mark Roth and these other VJs that would come to Mushroom Valley, and we would have these big jam sessions and just share skills. And I've just been picking up different techniques and sharing along the way as well. It's just one of these things, and it's definitely like helped me grow a lot just from those big sharing moments. It's been the best for me in that process. Yeah,
it's super exciting or inspiring to hear you like express that you're like learning new things and leveling up and growing, because it's like you've been doing it for so long that it makes me like excited to also keep on learning and growing. I'm sure you felt this before, like you always get to these points where like, oh, okay, I have my ways. You get maybe a little bit even stuck in your ways, and then somebody or you see something comes along and you're just like, oh fuck, this is way more cooler or better than what I was doing, and then you focus on like learning something new, and it's such a great feeling, of just like, it's not reinventing yourself. It doesn't have to be that kind of feeling, but it's more of just like you have more abilities, your ability is already really good. So getting even better, adding abilities to how good you like to the thing that you're good at is, it's awesome.
Definitely. It's like, it's like we've got to keep on learning, got to keep on pushing ourselves. If we get static and we get stuck and things start dying off, it's like it's that
Totally
that constant growth. And we, be open. Like I'm a teacher, but also a student at all times. Always
that's the way.
Channel of being able to share that information and receive it as well. It's like anything really. It's how things continue to prosper. Yeah.
Totally.
So
you're also it's apropos to kind of what you do as your day job, let's say, and I want to talk about it later, of course, even more. But Blake is an amazing farmer, to lack of a better word, permaculture farmer. You're a growth expert.
Well, like the official term is a permaculture design consultant. So I design and consult mostly families.
Farmer is much cool. Come on, farmer is like you get the hat, you get like the Australian, hat. You get like a little bit of a thing to put in your mouth while you're walking around the garden.
I do a heap of landscaping as well. So I mean, like the farming side of things, it's like
I'm just joking.
I've done a bit of it. Yeah, I get it. But at the moment there's so many interesting things happening in that field. I really want to talk about it. That's growing exceptionally.
Yeah. I just feel like, it's cool to hear you talk the way you talk about your visual career and the way that you do things there. I'm sure you see all the similarities of kind of like permaculture ethics and like the ethos, letting things grow as they are. And, there's got to be a lot of parallels there for sure.
Definitely.
So tell us a little bit about Australia. One of my top places in the world. New Zealand kind of kicked it a little bit down now that I've been there, but still top places for sure. I would consider them maybe even tied. Let's say they're tied for one of the coolest places. But yeah, tell us about.
Amazing. Love New Zealand.
Oh, I was blown away.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about Australia. Growing up in Australia, what was that like? A little bit about maybe how you got into arts and the visual arts in general, and just kind of the origin of your journey.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me it was it starts a long time ago where so talking like I went to my first rave. They were called raves then back in '99, right? And there wasn't any visuals, or there's a few lights or whatever there was, and then they sort of like went from raves. I'm like probably like 17, 18 years old at this point, and I'm just loving this like techno music. Oh man, this is me. I love this. I just love dancing, right? And then that kind of evolved into doofs. I don't know if you realize, but like, I mean, maybe it's a rumor, but basically the word doof came from a newspaper article in Victoria, where this reporter like talked about this doof in the bush, and that's when the word doof came after. And all of a sudden, went from raves to doofs around like the 2000 mark. And
it's because of the sound of the speakers, no? Doof, doof,
yeah,
doof,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were going to doofs, not raves anymore.
Yeah.
And then it went. So at the time, I finished high school and went and studied multimedia at TAFE. And TAFE is, I just did a year just studying media arts, and for me it was like didn't do too well at school. I was like, what am I actually good at? I didn't really know, my place in the world. And once I started learning design and multimedia, like computer animation skills, I was like, I'm actually finally good at something. This is what I really want to do.
Interesting. And was there anybody or anything that kind of made you want to try that out to like see if it was right for you? Like, were you creative as a kid? Like, did you like to do things that were adjacent to design?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the only subject I really did well at high school was art. Art and film and television. So I knew that was my thing.
Yeah.
And
hell yeah.
Yeah. Then once I started studying, all of a sudden I was just like felt super empowered, and this is my thing. And then a friend of mine, Ram, was at he did multimedia as well, and he was a little bit older than me. And had this, we're at a doof, and he had a small projector and a bit of Lycra set up, and he's doing visuals. I'm like, hey, what's this? Like, I can do that. I can definitely do this. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this. And so I got home and I searched visual jockey. Right, this is what it was called. VJ, actually, it's called visual jockey. Search that into Google on my dial-up computer. Like in the forest here, and I downloaded this program called Visual Jockey. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it was like a node-based real-time.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. It was super cool. It did like real-time visualize with audio. Had really good audio analyzer in it, and
like Magic music almost, or
like Magic. Yep. Yeah, like that. It was just like simple nodes. Like you build the tree. Had like there was like a 3D element to it as well.
Visual
3D generators.
jockey.
It's I should it's bring it up. It's like this bit of software was killer. I made some awesome real-time visuals, and didn't have like Spouter NDI back then, so you had to like output this to it. You didn't have a graphics card that had a second output.
It's definitely not this, right?
Yeah, this is it, man. This is it.
No way, this is it.
Yeah, this is it, and it became free, and they stopped making it. I know, it was super
like
corny.
90s, like early thousands. Like this is like the internet was like this. Every single website was like this. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Okay. Well,
it's killer. It still runs
oh, wow. Look at that shit.
on Windows 7. Yeah,
Wow.
it's
So
it's, it's killer.
like kind of almost like a like an interactive shader almost with nodes. Like
Yeah,
all
it's
2D,
like
no
basically
3D.
just yeah, definitely 3D. Yeah, definitely 3D.
Also
Like
3D.
there's
Like
some cool.
you had a camera you could move around.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a static. Maybe yeah. It might have had. Yeah, there's some 3D
Or
stuff.
move the
These
objects around or something.
yeah. So main thing I did is just bring in a 3D object and put a texture to it, and then best thing about it is you could then spout the texture back into the background and then put a mirror, and then you have this infinite feedback loop. So it's just killer. It was the coolest thing. This is it.
Oh, wow. Interesting. This is
And
so
it's still,
crazy. This is like
and
I thought I knew all of the old programs. I never heard of this one. This is some Aussie shit. This is some real
It's-
Australian
yeah.
like web stuff. Nobody.
This is not Aussie.
nobody
I mean,
no, I'm joking. I'm joking. But
yeah.
I haven't heard anybody talk about
The
this.
audio analyzer in this was killer. This audio analyzer.
Look at
Nothing.
That's crazy.
You could like modulate all the sound, and like I could really make some cool real time stuff with it. Most of the time back then, I would just like render out videos and then play them back in Resolution.
Did you have you had Resolume by this point as well? Yeah, you had like some sort of mixing tool.
Eventually started with the visual docky thing, and then started going to dwarfs, like dragging the desktop computer and the big CRT monitor around, and and like plug into do the old party with it. And like using the like first NVIDIA GPUs, and yeah. It was,
So were you like, okay, so that like node based program, right? Like you're getting into it, and the kind of motivation or the passion for it is like you want to do this visual thing that you saw your friend do. But where does the motivation to like learn a software is like this? Is there a geeky side of you that's kind of like, because node based is not like something you could just pick up intuitively, you know? Resolume maybe you could argue has like a menu and like a little bit of things. There's intuitive UI stuff, but like where does the like how did you learn this stuff? Like how did you teach yourself this stuff?
oh, I just picked it up super quick. I think that's one of kids. People say you've got the knack. Have you heard of the knack? I've got the knack,
Of course.
right? Which is like I was a kid.
You're gonna be a big VJ one day, kid.
Yeah, like I was like when grandma's VCR broke, I was the kid that came and fixed it, right? I was that kid. No one else could fix the VCR, but I was able to like program the VCR, right? So I guess I've like been able to like intuitively pick up software, and it's like one of those things, like when it comes to using a computer, I can see the patterns pretty quickly and just read it, and there's no block there for me. It's like I can quickly pick up stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, so
you started. Did
like
you
a
start
natural
playing?
thing.
Did you start playing doofs with this friend of yours and just kind of pick up from there? Like, did you just instantly get into VJing right away?
Yeah, and like then we did a couple of gigs together, but then we might have moved away. We didn't really catch up much after that. Then I just became the only VJ in Queensland. I mean, back 20 years ago, like there's a couple of guys that there's like Mikey Crane. He's been doing it longer than me. He's big shout out to Mikey, like a good mentor of mine as well. So back then I was just borrowing projectors and setting up micro screens and just doing visuals, and then the visual docker thing was something I started with. Then I went into Resolume, so got the earliest versions of Resolume. It was much different. It was similar but much more dulled down back then.
Way shittier.
Oh look, no, like honestly, there's some things that
For the
the older one, like I could like the flow state that I could get into in the old Resolume was so good. I loved it. There was some really cool effects that just aren't possible now. They kind of they just made it too complicated. When things are simple, it's easier just to get into that flow state and just jam and have fun with it. So then they changed it and like, oh, this isn't the same. And I have to sort of adjust stuff. And in my current Resolume setup, actually, I think it looks like the old version of Resolume. Kind of like switch the interface around, and I'm the only one that does it this way, as far as I can tell.
That's so fun.
I would have to start hard.
Yeah, for sure. And super interesting. So it was like you kind of fell into it almost, but also like realized that it's something that you're really good at and enjoy. Was there any
Yeah.
like, did you have any like connection to what is possible? Like, meaning like, were you at a concert or did you see, somebody do like, obviously not like a
Yeah.
task, but let's say like a, some crazy show that you saw that was like, wow, the visuals were crazy, or some crazy light show or something like that, that had you kind of striving to get to higher levels? Or was it just like, this is what I'm
Definitely.
doing, these doofs and
Yeah. I mean, like I was, back probably 2001 to maybe 2003, I'd say I started going to like Rainbow Serpent Festival, which is like the biggest doof in Australia back then. It was
which one?
thousands of people. Rainbow Serpent Festival.
Rainbow Serpent. Yeah. It still happens.
Yeah. I think, well, they
Did they
don't,
not do it
hasn't been
anymore?
running for the last couple of years. No, I think they
Okay.
stopped. Yeah. And so I did some traveling and went down south and saw some bigger festivals, and the visuals there. I was just like, just amazed, and I was like, there was like Master Damas was playing there.
Oh,
Master
nice.
Damas is,
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
Dorian.
So yeah, so I never
My
actually met
mentor.
him, but yeah. So I saw some visuals there at Rainbow. And I was super buzzed and super excited, and it was like,
That's cool.
like it was really 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 hyped from that, and that then there's like other guys there, like the guys that have been doing it for longer than me at that point. They had like a whole rack of VCRs, like a multi-stack VCR rack, and
Yeah.
like a old school video mixers, and
Wow.
it's crazy seeing all that stuff happening. But yeah, like Master Damas was there back in the day, and I saw some amazing stuff from him, and the New Zealand crew as well. It was they don't not running anymore, but they I forget their name. There's some great guys that went from New Zealand at that time. They supported me a bit. I remember
Nice.
getting my desktop shipped down on a plane, and actually did a couple of gigs there as well.
In New Zealand. Hell yeah.
No, Rainbow
Uh,
Serpent.
Rainbow Serpent. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I imagine like at that time there probably wasn't much information about what this thing is, right? And you're kind of like just kind of seeing what's around you, right? Like also Australia is pretty separate from the whole world. I mean, there's obviously it's a modern
yeah,
civilization. It's not like, stuck in the past or anything, but it's isolated. So it's
yeah,
interesting to see how like, the first inspirations and this kind of like, what you gravitated towards in terms of software and stuff like that.
mm,
Um, because it's not like you can just
yeah,
go on YouTube and learn something. You know what I mean? You have to like really make the effort and teach yourself all the
absolutely.
things.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, like there was nothing really. I mean, there was. I can't even recall. Honestly, I spent many many years just not even looking outside for inspiration. I was just like doing like just developing so many of my own skills. There wasn't
Nice.
really you don't have all these Discord, so much information these days. It's incredible. So many forms of, so many, online courses and channels and platforms, and there's so much information. But yeah, I just recall so many years of just doing my own thing and just jamming
Mm.
away, and like it. There's so many. I'm doing so many more things than I used to. But
Mm.
I would probably, if I look back at my folders, like I've got like almost every year I make another folder for the year that I've for the next for each year I make another folder for my visuals, right? So I can actually go back and look at all the gigs I've done each year, and like it just keeps it's just ramping up each year, like as the festivals are going, and I'm getting more gigs. It's just that things are just like being more exponential, I guess, is where things are heading. Um, and so yeah, I've just for a long time just learned and practiced on my own. I didn't really have many other people to work with, but until the last 5 to 10 years, or maybe like yeah, probably around 5 years, I've just been doing much more collaboration. And there's Vidma Steady from Melbourne as well. He's been a great VJ. We've worked together a few times, he was one of the guys that would come up to Cairns, and we've done a few gigs together. And
Nice.
yeah, there's all, like, working with people has been the best thing to develop my skills. Like, that's where things change, you know. You can always watch tutorials and get that, but you know, I've learned the most from people in the scene and doing gigs together and
100%.
seeing it hands on. Yeah.
I learned that way better, you know, just seeing somebody doing something, being able to ask them a specific question, you know. It's like yeah, it's like sometimes information for me, it's probably a little bit of autism, but it's like, you know, the information comes in, but there's like something that I don't understand, and that's not explained in the video or whatever, in the class or whatever. And if there's no like Q&A, I can't get that thing answered. So it's like I have a huge, like, almost like there's no reason for me to have this huge block of not understanding something, but there's like a pathway or a click that doesn't click. And all I have to do is ask the one question. And it's like, no, it's like, I'm like, oh, I get it. But if I don't have that opportunity, so for me learning, I need that like interaction. Not, some people aren't like that. My brother can just like watch like classes all day, and it just like feeds, you know? So I think that people have a different way of learning, but it's, yeah, all the skills that I accumulated over the years were from watching people, like sitting down next to somebody, or, you know, having a buddy that I can ask questions with. I think it's very important.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, to see people do their thing. Yeah.
It's also inspiring, you know, it makes you motivated to want to continue to do things and get better and learn. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about 3D, because I think that, and now that I'm hearing about this visual jockey thing, it kind of makes a little bit more sense in my head. But yeah, you know, there's a big shift, I think, for visual artists, when they go from, especially in the VJ scene, when they go from like, okay, I'm mixing videos, okay, I'm making, you know, content, I'm doing shaders, I'm doing music visualization, stuff like that. And then shifting a little bit more into like the 3D world and kind of understanding more about that. So I just wanted to ask you a little bit about that. Like, what was your catalyst for going into more 3D stuff? And, you know, I know that you're going to show us a little bit of your workflows when it comes to your vectors. And when I say 3D, I kind of mean vectors as well. I would include those in the 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
was there like a more shift for you? Like, what was maybe like the, you know, the reason that you wanted to go in this path and things like that?
Well, I mean, like, you know, when I was learning the multimedia tape, like I learned 3D Studio Max. That was the software that I learned. So I was making visuals in. Well, no, this is like, I guess this is college. This is like after school.
College. I mean, yeah, college school. Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I learned. That's where I learned 3D Studio Max, and for many, you know, that's where I would make models or would do animations in, you know, just simple stuff. I never really got super deep into it. It was just enough to like get by, use materials and stuff, and that. Then yeah, we'll just make simple stuff and then use different programs to bit of After Effects as well, but not a huge amount of 3D rendering, to be honest. I don't like making videos. Like, I'm super, like, I don't like After Effects because it's super slow. I just don't have any patience.
Right.
So,
like rendering.
Rendering, it's like, no, I'm not interested in it. I really love the real-time stuff, but so for me, like, bringing a 3D model, like looking on the internet, finding a 3D model and like texturing it and making it spin and bounce to the beat is kind of being like my main go-to visual. You know, something geometric, something. You know, I've found a whole bunch of sacred geometry, like 3-dimensional shapes that I've been playing with for many years. And that's been one of my main go-to visuals that I would, you know, use in Magic, for example. Got a whole Magic is now, I don't have it installed on this computer. Well, I do, but like I've since upgraded. I've got to rebuild so much of my Magic, but yeah, like Magic is great because it has like the audio responder in it is nothing is like it really. I can't seem to get that out of notch, and I can't get that's my reference. But yeah, Magic is is really cool.
It's magic.
But yeah, it's simple, it's easy to use. You can have it's a good introduction to real-time visuals. I find it's a good one. So most of my stuff has been 3D. I don't really do too much 2D shaders and such. I've mucked around with synesthesia a little bit and got a few things, but yeah, it's like, I think for me it's finding the most real-time, easy to use bit of software has been my focus, and that's where I started with the visual blocking. That's what I love. That's what I like to play with, and so it has to be quick. It has to be something that's effective without too much of a learning curve. So it's really where I feel like focus on. So yeah, I've got like an array of different softwares that I use that sort of all go together in Resolume that are mixed together. So there's like layers of vector line shading with Madmapper, and real-time 3D stuff with Magic that I would use and also Notch. And so there's like a whole, also like that Nest Drop comes into the mix. It's like something real-time, right into generative real-time response.
Nest Drop is great.
When the music, it's fantastic. But like it's a good go-to when you're doing all-nighters. It's like, okay, how can I pull this night off and keep it interesting?
Yeah, it's interesting because that's like the all-nighters is something that I don't think a lot of current VJs are so familiar with. It's like very specific to psytrance, doofs, and things like that. Like a lot of the other music scenes, they'll either have more VJs or maybe they won't have full nights or things like this. But it's interesting because if you're not in the real-time world or generative world, then you need to have like massive libraries of content. And when you're in the real-time generative world, you need to have massive libraries of content. It's just a different type of library.
Yeah. But it always changes. It's never the same.
Yeah.
And so like Nest Drop is cool. Like I started with Milk Drop when it was in the Winamp player, right? Like, open URL and put the code in for the microphone and press play, and then the Milk Drop would kick off. And that was like, so for me, Nest Drop, it's so much easier to use now. I can have all the library there. It's a good one. So all nighters is like that's being the only VJ in North Queensland for so long. All nighters, like doing 3 all nighters. It's,
do you, now that you have more collaborators and now that international VJs are coming in, do you miss the all nighters, or are you kind of like, I got my experience, but now I'm kind of like, I can take a deep breath and not have to.
Definitely not.
There's always those 3 hours in the middle of the night where you're just like, you want to kill yourself, and you're just like, why am I doing this really?
Yeah.
And then it comes back, and you're like, I love this.
Yeah, I know, it's like torturous, isn't it? It's like we love this.
There's a moment.
Like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, there's a moment when you're 10 hours in, or like 8 hours in, you're like. Freezing cold, and there's nobody on the dance floor.
Yeah,
you're like, why?
And I know. It's a funny life. It's a really interesting life. Like, and so like I get back to having other people. That's what's been happening lately. Like I've putting myself out there as someone that can, as a mentor, to be able to share, and like just by on my website, I've got like mentorship is a thing that I want to offer, and just by having that there. But a few people hit me up on Instagram saying, "Hey, you do mentorship?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. Like, what do you like? What's your pain points? How can I help? Like, where you're at? Like, how can I?" Most of the time, it's just like invoicing and charging. Really is what most people ask me about.
Interesting.
And so, but then other people like, like where's a good resource for learning Resolume, or where's just the passing information is another part of that I do. So the last few years I've got a few people that have just been hitting me up and saying, "Hey, can you teach me that are actually local?" And I've been, "Okay, great. All right, come along and you can do the graveyard shift. You can do the 12 to 5 for me, right? Teach whatever you want to do. What I want to know, just do this for me." And that's sort of like what I need the biggest help with is actually doing those long hours. I guess I'm getting a bit on, and it's like that's I prefer to do like the peak moments and just enjoy, but it is tough doing the all-nighters, and that's what does take the fun out of it.
Yeah, it's a great reciprocal thing, because you're also allowing them to get screen time or VJ time, and that's the best way to learn VJing is the experience, just doing it again and again and again, and finding what you like to do. So I think that's really awesome. It's kind of how I got to learn from Dorian, was also like, hey, he needed some fresh blood to like do the hard stuff and carry all the heavy stuff. Little did he know that I don't like to carry anything, so it didn't really work out so good for him. But but I definitely didn't mind doing the graveyard shift.
Yeah, I've done enough, but I've still that's the gig. Then I'll do the time, and like it's just seeing a musical journey is very interesting as well, and being able to shift. And, like if I'm enjoying the music, then it's on. I can't feel the heaviness.
For sure. For sure.
If the music's good, and I'm in the zone, and it's fun. If I'm enjoying myself, I can stay up all night, no problem. But music's, if it's getting late and it's getting a bit hard, and it's like, oh, just stop it. But like one of my pet peeves is like when the music puts us up at 3:00, but goes till 5, and I don't want to shut down because it's like I'm so tired. I'm banking on the 3 a.m., but no, it's time to like gone to 6:30 now. And I'm like, oh man, that's the worst. That's probably the worst.
For sure. Just to go back for a second, because you said something really interesting about sorry, brain farting here. You were talking not about the business side, but it was about kind of when you were first getting into it, and you were oh shit, I totally lost my train of thought. This happened to me last time as well. My mind is totally fucked for the past 2 weeks. I started smoking weed again, and I think my brain is catching up to like being able to like remember things in the short-term memory. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about like.
No, it wasn't mentoring. No, it was a small thing that I wanted to jump. It was a tangent. It's not important. It was a tangent. Let's just continue. I the scene in Australia has gone through like lots of changes, it seems like. And from like smaller festivals, from like the Doofs and this kind of stuff, to like the bigger festivals, what are some things that you feel have influenced the scene or kind of made the scene what it is now, and kind of your experience from almost 2 decades of also going to Doofs. I remember what I wanted to ask you. When you were going to Doofs and you were like enjoying them, as like a kid, as like a young adult, and kind of partying, which is like a very fun thing to do. Did becoming a VJ seem like for you a way to be part of this scene, to contribute to it in your way? And was that something that also helped you kind of like continue to grind at it and get better at it?
Well, because I love the scene so much, it's like, well, I love this whole scene. I love dancing. I love the music, and wow, I can also contribute. This even makes it even better. So I think from then on, I did less partying and just did more VJing, and for so many years, that's the only reason why I would go to a party, was to do the visuals. And it sort of turned into, I am actually part of the scene. This is who I am. I'm the guy that does this here, and it was so reciprocated. Everyone, it's like, oh, thank you so much. It's so good to have visuals. And it's like you're just seeing people go, oh man, I saw this thing in the visuals, and it was this, and this, like some elaborate description of some weird thing. Like, that's super cool. I have no idea what you're talking about. I didn't do that, but awesome. I love those moments.
Yeah, those are the best.
But yeah, it's something that I've been a part of me for a long time. I mean, there's the scene has taken its dive. I mean, there was probably 2005, 2000 to 2000. Time slips away, but there was probably like a 3 to 4 year period where there wasn't much happening in North Queensland as far as I could gather. There was some really great festivals. The winter solstice and the summer solstice festivals here that were really big, and then you got got to a point where it kind of like got too big, and then it sort of collapsed for many years, and that kind of like I got some years when I haven't really done much at all, and then I kind of like shifted. I kind of my first child and sort of dropped out of the scene for a little while, I guess, and then maybe 2006, 7, sort of picked it back up again. Yeah, so there's some years there where it seems funny. Don't have the recollection of all the years, but it's has had this big ebb, and now it's back on again. It's really taken off, and the scene in Australia. There's so many parties, so many books, and I'm getting hit up all the time really to come and play, and it's definitely been a part of life for a long time. And like I don't buy tickets. Like people go, how much does a ticket cost? I'm like, man, I got no idea. I don't buy tickets. I've not bought a ticket. Like a very like when I did. What did I? I don't know. I can't remember buying tickets. Anyway, it's not my thing. I just don't need to. But I just go to enough talks. That's enough festivals, and I'm not playing, then I'm not going. Basically, it's kind of where I sit with it. Yeah.
For sure. When you had this this low point when there wasn't a lot of gigs, you said you had your first child. What did you do to kind of keep your skills up, like your motivation going? Like, was there anything that you did to, because when there's no gigs, you're not really getting the chance to practice, and you're not getting a chance as much to, excel with your skills. So was there something that you did to keep your mind sharp in that sense?
Yeah, well, I guess like having the multimedia skills, I've always done like websites and graphic design and animations, and I've done a couple of visual tracks for some music artists over the years, and that kind of keeps them ticking over. It's like being a VJ it's a weekend job. It's not a midweek job. There's no parties during the week. So what are you supposed to do during the week? You work a couple of nights. I mean, now these days, like I'm basically booking a whole week to do a festival. That's the amount of time it takes.
Right. Getting the stuff ready,
and set up. But really. So that's being able to do other things is really important. And so keeping my mind sharp is, so I at this point where spent many years on the computer doing this, like I guess a sedentary sort of position, I decided I need to kind of do more physical work, and at this point, learning that permaculture side of things was where I discovered this other passion of mine was to actually design regenerative landscapes, be able to heal the planet while feeding people. Is this idea that realization is like, well, with these multimedia skills, I can design landscapes with these ideas and these concepts and ethics, and so that's where that sort of tangent happened. I guess after having my first child was like at that point. So then I started like gardening or farming, as you put it, so much. For us, farming is like a broad acre. That's like a big scale. I know. Yeah.
It's also like farming is usually with animals, I think, as well. It was a terrible joke. I'm sorry. I regret it already.
That's fine. That's cool.
Finding a second passion it's such a blessing that you found something, because it's like you could have also just had a second job. Maybe that would give you like that calm of like, okay, here's something else besides the visuals. But finding something that actually like inspires you and gives you like something like really powerful and beneficial to your life is so nice. Like I strive for that also, to find that thing that I can do that's outside of digital art, visual art, that I'm passionate about, and hopefully is also like a very positive thing to the planet in some way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, from the start of that journey, I was just watching all the doom and gloom, watching all the Illuminati, all that dark stuff, all the shit that's going on in the world, It's like, how can I can't change any of that. I can't make a difference to the bigger picture. What I can make a difference is my reality around me. And the biggest thing we can do is like, to grow food for us is like the opposite of all that bullshit. The opposite of all that dark shit that's going on in the world is to actually do is like growing food is one of the most, I find, is activism thing that I found that makes a difference in the immediate world around me. So
Interesting.
so that's been a big thing that I've been able to like share a lot of, and that's so like running two businesses is what I do at the moment. It's like my day job and my night job, and weekend jobs.
Yeah.
So
Your
I've always
moonlighting
done my own
job.
thing. Yeah. So this connection with that psychedelic, with the cosmos, with those patterns of nature and all that, like that's like super inspiring for me. And then I'm like bring all that cosmic ideas and ground it into the earth, and then you sort of have this like flux in this in between space of interchanging these cosmic psychedelic influences with the earth, and that's kind of like go between these spaces all the time. It's an interesting place that I kind of have to switch out of. I'll be at a gig and someone goes, "Oh man, how's the garden going?" I'm like, "Oh wow," I was like so deep in like this crazy shader right now, and like now I'm like having to talk about like the earth. It's like whoa, it's like a whole other headspace. I find it quite interesting how I kind of go between these worlds. But yeah, it's where I'm at, and it's like I've just have to accept that this is who I am. It's like envy, but I see people that have a thing and that's their thing, and they do that. I guess I do things, but as I do things that are actually like not the same at all, and I'm quite good at both.
Yeah.
And
It's you're super lucky with that.
To sort of like embrace that, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good time to get into kind of the set portion before we go off into too much of a tangent of the permaculture, because I was telling you before that I was watching some videos and doing a little bit of research of permaculture. Not that I know anything, but it's one of those words you hear a lot of, and you kind of know what it is, like regenerative farming, but like looking into actually what it was and what it is was very interesting. So I'm excited to talk about that after.
Cool.
But yeah, let's jump into your set portion.
Yeah.
I think Blake has prepared for us quite the presentation, so I'm very excited. And I think we're going to start with your iPad. I'll let you take it away.
Okay, so like as I was saying, I mostly work with facades that are hand painted and hand created, and don't really get a 3D model before a festival. Like when we worked together in Ix, it was the first time I've worked with someone who had a 3D model that was accurate, and as much as I try and strive for that these days to get festivals to provide me an accurate model and stick to it, is like super rare.
Right.
I made a bunch of content sometimes, and they go there and they've gone and changed it. It's like I'm just going to have to delete so much stuff. Only because I've got a process to show you later with some ComfyUI things. So I don't really like to develop too much content just on that point before a gig. But my process is to take a photo of the facade and put this into the resolution of the projector resolution. Say I've got like two projectors side by side. That's going to be 3840, whatever it may be. What's this resolution here? So this one's 4000 by 1786, for example. So that's the final resolution of my output in Resolute. So I do a bit of photoshopping beforehand and just get that image nice and saturated, and I cut the background out. So that's what you see here. So this app here is called Concepts. This is a vector design app that I use for my landscape design work as well, but it's super used for vector line tracing.
What's it called one more time, Blake?
This is Concepts.
Concepts.
Yeah. So it's a vector design app. So as you can see, has like smoothing some. Basically, I'm drawing with a vector line right here. So what I would do is I would trace over facade like this. And, like to get that, not if you saw how quick that was to actually get that line pretty well traced. To do that in Illustrator, it's like click, 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 like the mouse is so slow. This is another process of like speeding up the process, because I really don't want to sit behind a computer and click the mouse and keyboard. That's I'm trying to find ways of getting away from that, but unfortunately that's the interface we have at the moment. But anyway, so this is concept. So I would trace over this vector line. As you can see, I can like move it around, select it, move it around. So it's just a really quick way to retrace the artwork. This might take me an hour or so. I mean, it takes a bit. You go as much detail as you can. Like, I think the more detail you put into it can be beneficial, but it does limit to the amount of points. There's a process that I'll do later that can reduce the amount of points, so it's not being bogged down. So like I would retrace this. As you can see, this festival here. This is Rabbit Seed Lettuce, which is a beautiful festival down in southeast Queensland in April over Easter. And this is the facade there. This is a really fun one. So as you can see, I've gone through and I've retraced the whole lot.
Nice.
Like it's helpful. It's helpful when there's like the symmetry. So I could do some of it and then copy it and flip it and do some symmetry. But when it comes to taking a photo, things aren't really going to be super symmetrical. So it's something easy just to retrace it. So it's a layer that I would do to make all these vector lines. And then I would export that as a SVG. I know you can't see much. This is a big white square on the screen, isn't it? Bit over. Anyway, so this is a great app for retracing. Then so
I remember at Nick's watching you kind of draw one of these, and I was so impressed about how fast you were doing it and how accurate it was. I thought it was really awesome.
Yeah, no, it's a really effective process, and I've been doing this. This is like you see, do every single gig this way. This is how I've got some of the Mushroom Valley ones. This is it's pretty epic. Lots of line work here.
Sick.
Just so basically, have to redraw the entire facade and do that. So many different ways of doing this. This app is super handy just for like drawing in general. But here's the next one. Okay.
Nice.
I think I ended up retracing. Yeah, I did retrace it. I don't know. Maybe I did retrace it, right? Because like, he didn't end up giving me the vector lines. I don't know. It was like
there was something. I think we had the patterns or something like that, right? Some of the patterns we already had. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
Good times.
Anyway, I'm working with vectors is one of, like, an essential skill to have, and like there's go from concepts to make the SVG, then I would bring that into Illustrator, or I use Affinity Designer, and I just use that to clean it up a little bit. I would just reduce the amount of vertices just to make it better performance later in Madmapper. But okay, I just wanted. Do you want me to? There's a few more other little techniques I use the iPad for that I can share with that are separate to this workflow. Do you want me to stick with this, or should we just go through this workflow? Yeah, just keep.
Totally up to you.
Okay. So at this point, this is where I would get to just to retrace the facade and give myself a nice vector vector drawing. Here's a this one's Ornaya, Epic Festival up here. I've done so much with Ornaya, and these guys are the best family ever.
Nice.
Rafi, Colin, and John Nicola. These people are just epic. Love working with them, and they just push the boundaries of psychedelic art. There's some great videos on the Instagram page of what we did for this one, and this is all made of bamboo and some CNC-rated stuff, and so learn a lot with those guys as well. Pushing the boundaries of psychedelic. It's epic. I love it. It's like, can we have 3 projectors? Can we have 4 projectors? Can we have projection on the hill, on the facade? And can we map the thing and do that? It's like, yeah, okay, I can do this. I've got this I don't know if it's skill or ability or something stupid that I do. I'll just keep saying yes to everything and then have to go, oh, okay, how do I do this? And then figure it out. I think it's how the attitude that I've got, which has got me where I am, is just to be confident, and then false confidence.
False confidence? But it's not. It's not
like,
false. You actually do know what you're saying.
Well, I believe I can do it, but I just don't know how. I guess
but that's
about.
That's false confidence. It doesn't give you enough credit. Maybe it's like this might be worse, but I think it's better. Hubris, like you because it's like, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's a more positive hubris, because you're not like just doing it to say that you can do it. You're actually doing it because you want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love it. I think, it's very, as an Israeli, by the way, that's the way that Israelis like sell shit of like, I'll do it. I could do it without even knowing that they could do it, but being confident, selling it, that it's like possible. But if you follow through with it, then what's the matter? That's the end result is what matters,
Massive. Yeah, it's like mapping a stage, and you've got like multiple projectors, and you've got to do edge blending and sync stuff together, and you've got all this stuff going on. It's like, oh, how do I do this? Okay, and like just being able to just wing it, like winging it is, guess what I would call it as well.
Winging it for sure. Winging it for sure.
Yeah. So like a tracing facade has been fundamental of the process here. Like these vectors are also super handy for any 3D modeling you want down the track as well, because like all these shapes here can be converted into faces. And me and Imri got a process where I would trace this, and then SVG can be then inputted into Blender, and then the image then projected back onto all those faces.
Nice.
Then we can separate all those faces out into
you get it textured.
So, yeah, so it's like texturing it with the photo map.
And having it separate pieces, which is important.
Yeah.
This is nice. What is this one?
This is Rootbound. This is a beautiful festival.
Beautiful stage. Look at that. It's so pretty.
Yeah, this is an amazing artist. Diffraction crew from Townsville. Big shout out. These guys are epic, and such nice. Beautiful guys to work with. So, and then the last Rootbound was, I was able to make so many better visuals that were based off the map. And having a 3D model, brought that into Notch and retextured and did a bunch of stuff and tweaked some stuff in Blender, and it was off. It was super fun and easy. It makes a difference when the stage builders can actually want to work with the visual artists, because it's such a big thing, and I just find if you're not considering the mapping, like they're missing a massive part of the effectiveness of the stage if the mapping. If not, it's a big one anyway. But yeah, I've just been working with this one's Ornaya. This was just incredible stage many years ago.
Beautiful.
And this map was super fun. Lasers coming out of the snake eyeballs. And,
nice. Sick.
Yeah,
super satisfying. To see these vectors. It must be super satisfying.
Yeah, to like paint snake. This one took me a couple of hours to work through to read all this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did a bunch of copying and pasting, but yeah, beautiful. It'd be good to like, I've got all these retrace vectors. I should put them on some t-shirts or something.
Totally. Totally. They would be
Make
super cool.
some line stickers or something. Cool. Anyway, so vectors are super important to make line tracing. Then I'll just quickly show you another little process I do on the iPad
Please.
that I really enjoy. So this app here is called iOrnament. If you know that there's this one. I make a lot of visuals. I do the main visuals I do make. Super quick, super easy, but super effective. And that's kind of like
What's it called one more time?
iOrnament.
Say that again.
It's like iOrnament.
High ornament. Okay.
So the letter I.
Oh, iOrnament.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ornament. Yeah, it's
Cool.
basically just a tile.
Mandala maker.
Yeah, and just make mandalas, to make a flower of life super quick and easy, right? Flower of life. You can color it and do different functions.
You animate it.
Yeah, we'll get there. Exactly.
Okay.
So,
cool.
Well, like even this as like a live drawing. So I'm big fan of live real time stuff, and you can actually use this as a live visualizer as well. You can actually, I've done this before, where I've just projected this up and put this into a layer and have people just doing cool designs, and it's like like a nice way just to do something different. On those gigs that are a bit more low key and just fun. So super easy just to make a quick mandala. Pretty well. Anyway, so then I save that as a file. I just save it, save image. Then I bring up what am I called? Oh, here's my VJ page, all the different apps that I use. I've got some cool things in there. So then the iOrnament. Then I go to the other one. You should bring up for the IO Crafter.
IO Crafter.
Yeah, this one's pretty bad. What's this one called?
It's the same company.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Then go to the tile that I just made. Bring that in. And then I can do these geometric reforms.
Ooh, cool.
And then this is where it gets animated.
Sick.
So it's like a super
does it have NDI and spout?
That would be nice. No, it's actually a bit cumbersome, and they kind of like haven't really updated any of the output settings apart from like 1024 by 768 is the maximum resolution.
Right. Just as a render.
Bit annoying. Yeah. So, so this
do you just
one.
Can you just do a screen capture, like a screen
share?
So
what I do is I'll just make a movie.
You'll render it.
Just make it. I'll just render out a movie. Just render it out like this. So I do make visuals this way. This is just a good way to make some simple psychedelic stuff, and it's simple just to be able to have these different graphics. We've got there's different. It gets pretty well.
Damn.
It's really good math. I was talking to Imri about how to try to get this running through Touch Designer.
There's a great operator called it's from Daniel Molnar.
I think you might have showed me. You started playing with him. Okay. You got to get this. If this was in real time in Touch, I'm sure there's a way to do it.
You have it. Daniel Molnar has this amazing what is it called? Man, my memory today is just shit. Keep on going. I'll find it. It's called Function Store is his name. Sorry. It's super cool app.
Right. Yeah, totally. I'm super interested because if this was real time and if we put a bit of video in that file and put it through some of these processes, incredible. It'd just be super cool. You know,
Yeah,
a couple of years touches on it.
yeah, because I mean, obviously having it real time is more fun. Um,
Yeah.
but it's yeah, the operator is super cool because it does like all these like UV like mirroring kind of stuff, but with like a lot of math stuff that you're seeing here, like a lot of fractal patterns and things like that. Um,
Yeah.
complex op, Jesus, complex op, um, and it does. Let me see if I can find the actual page for it. Yeah, he talks about it on the episode that he was on as well. I think this would be like absolutely perfect for doing something like that live.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
like I'm really into simple patterns, so it's kind of like like I really like how like a black and white simple pattern works on the stage. It's like
mm-hmm.
once these graphics go into like all the different facets of a mapping, it just pops. Just like really a high contrast psychedelic pattern with math
Totally.
and like that sacred geometry. For me, it's like
Mm-hmm.
these side street stages are just like a temple. This is like where
Totally.
like it's modern magic.
100%.
So,
100%.
why I do it, I guess, it's like for me, it's an alternative experience. It's like an alternative to drugs. You don't need psychedelics as much when the visuals are just tweaked in a way that really responds
Fuck
to
yeah.
that psychedelic receptor. And then is there a thing that like is a psychedelic receptor? I don't know. Maybe it's like like a DMT. The patterns, like all those Shipibo patterns. That's they kind of ignite that. The way these patterns work. It's what you see when you on DMT.
For
So
sure.
I'm a big sucker for it. I love it. Just to be able to play these patterns is one of my what I love doing. Yeah. So
Yeah, dude.
little tidbit there. It's a nice little
I
app,
wanna.
couple of apps there that are yeah.
I just need to fix one thing here quickly. Something is not working with my controller. Just stand by. For. Sorry about that. Come on. 449. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to show you this complex op just quickly. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
So you see how it's like taking in that one image and then it's now doing like some sort of kaleidoscope, but obviously more kind of like
Yeah.
mathematical equation from that one image.
It's kind of doing it, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it has like tons of features and functions and all these kind of like different mathematical functions. Like all these kind of like trippy stuff. And just from that
Yeah.
one thing. So yeah, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. That's it. Yeah. It's
Ooh,
this is fluid. This is like this another cool app. It's just like being able to
nice.
bring like real time fluids into the space. It's super nice. So like subtle moments. To move this over the DJ's head and like explode it somewhere. It's fun. This is a great one. Yeah, like just I think for me, it's just like not having to like make something from scratch. I don't really have the patience for big learning curves. I just want to find something fun and make it easy and get through that. Yeah, so a couple of little groovy little things there. Um, so I guess what we can do now is I'll go back to the vector process and you can jump on the computer and show you some Madmapper if you want.
So now we are in Madmapper.
Cool. So this is my festival I just did, which is called Lost in Between. This is Perth. I'm just going to have some New Year's Eve event.
Could you click that hide again For some reason, I don't know why it didn't go away. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so here's the base image again. That the same image that I made at the beginning is then used again as a reference to make sure I've got things lined up. So the process of this is to like the file import SVG lines and where are those lines? Too many gigs here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was that. Maybe it's stuck somewhere else. Main stage is we'll bring all these in. It should be going to work. This might have been one before I reduce the vertices, because it does. One of the things it does bog down in Madmapper if you don't reduce the vertices.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just clogs up. I think that's what I've just done here. I've just jammed it up, trying to process that. So maybe I need to ramp up my GPU. No, I'm on performance. Here we go. Here we go. Yep, here it is.
Yep.
Cool. So then you get those lines that have been exported out of concepts, and then this has actually been cleaned up a little bit. Just some reduced lines and just reduced vertices in Finished Designer.
Blake, could you bring that microphone a little bit closer to you?
Oh, sorry. Is it better?
Much better.
Yeah. So one of the main points is to actually make sure you draw the outside frame. So this white. So you gotta make sure you draw the actual the frame of the
border
of the resolution you're working with. Yeah. And then I just stretch this. For some reason, Madmapper have changed it so this corner used to like click right where it needs to go, but then they moved it so they expanded the outside. No, it's super annoying. So you got to like.
That's weird. Why did they do that?
Yeah, no, I don't know. The older versions didn't do this. Now they've got to like do it.
Why would they give you a fake border on the outside of it? It's so weird.
I feel like writing to them.
Yeah, it seems like a mistake. Why would you want to have extra space there?
No.
Doesn't make
sense. Maybe they don't realize people do this with Madmapper. Maybe this is like what I'm doing here is not a. They don't realize.
But I mean, even
thing.
if you're stretching an image to match like a map or something, or warp a map, it wouldn't make sense to have that extra space. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're giving you that extra space for the warp, so that if your warp is bigger than your canvas, then you have that extra space to warp in. But still, it seems like if you're doing it, you would be smart enough to know how to do it.
No, it's There's no reason. There's no logic. It's just no logic. Because Madmapper is great because you can have like multiple outputs. So I've got so this facade I was doing because of the way it was. There was the front and the back. There was like the front facade and the back facade. So I had to do two outputs, and then we had one projector for the front, and then two projectors for the back. So there was like we're doing multiple outputs at the same time. So it's super handy. You can do like set up. It's a really good bit of software. Madmapper. I enjoy it. I mean, this is really the only purpose is I animate lines with it. It's the only reason I use it. But it's super powerful. It does so many things. So basically, I line up that facade with the screen resolution, and then I'll just go back to one that I did before. And then once you're so you've got like the white lines, and then you've got this effects button here. You just click that on, and then off it goes. And you can just go through and turn these lines off and on, make it do cool stuff. It's super simple, and you can do audio reactive stuff in there as well, and keep it real time and different tracing and different effects. It's not overly complicated, but it's nice. Just a nice little way to bring in some different stuff of animations into your
fast
set.
And somewhat real time. I guess it is real time, not somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, you've just got lines, and then it's just animating. People say like, "What? Hey, you've done so much work. How come when did you must have been working on this stuff for weeks?" I'm like, "Oh man, I got here on Thursday, took a photo, did the mapping, and then here we go. It's Friday." So yeah, like the workflow has got to be fast because I just don't have a week to make content. I've only got like Friday, basically, after you're setting up projectors, you've taken a photo. We're taking a photo when the sun's up. As we get to the gig before sunsets, and hopefully the stage is finished being painted or built. And it's like, oh man, so you finally get your photo, and then you can spend the time tracing it. I tend to actually just do this process on the second night. Like I might just on the first night I might just do civil stuff, and then just like gradually build my set over the weekend. Has these cool shaders in here as well. So these actually shaders. These are like these are GSL shaders, so you can see the eyeball bouncing to the beat into my voice.
Nice. That's in Madmapper, a GSL shader.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
There's a heap of shaders, so there's a heap of content for the library.
That's sick.
Heap of content. So these are all the featured ones. Yeah. So it's handy. I found the eyeball. That was pretty funky. Trick in there, but you can make it different things and move it around.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got some great stuff. Yeah, it's like out of the box. It's super handy. It's a good little kit. It's for starting out to really get some effective punching shows. It's not a hard process to retrace stuff, and all of a sudden you got some live, real time visuals. Without much of a learning curve. I think it's pretty simple. I picked this up very quickly. So then you can make some different styles, and then say I like this effect and make a change to it. You can modify the line, make the lines thicker or thinner, and add feathering to it. So that shader is the texture. You slow the shader right down and modify the scale of that shader to make it more interesting. That's different ways it works.
I mean, the ability for Madmapper to be able to pull in pull in vectors is very powerful. I wonder, is there like is there no Resolume wire flavor of that?
I've never played with wire. It's one of those things I've just gone, I don't have. It's one of the things I haven't played with. So I'm not sure about wire at all, to be honest.
It's not super important.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see. It doesn't do 3D, so I'm not interested.
Yes, I hear that.
I mean, I see what Control Chaos does with it. He does some pretty amazing stuff, and sort of follow what he does. And
for sure.
Yeah, some really good patches, and then basically a way to build your own custom effects in Resolume with wire. That's one of the main things it's for. If you geek out, you can achieve some stuff pretty quickly. So then if you like what you've made, you've got something groovy going on there, you can then just make a new scene, and that'll just add to the playlist on here. And then you can just press play, and then it'll just go through all the presets. So over the course of the night, I'll just keep adding to it, keep developing it. I'm kind of like always working on my set during the set. I'll just tweak stuff and then save it, and just kind of keep building it. So by the third night, of the event. You know, I've really got a whole bank of stuff, so it just keeps getting better and better as the weekend goes. It's kind of the way things roll, and yeah, I don't really know what it's what it's like to just do like a 3 hour set. You know, it's not something I've done much of at all. I mean, did a couple, where I just come as a VJ and just did 3 hours and not had to, yeah, then had to make all the content and prepare stuff beforehand. But most festivals with mapping and the psytrance scene, it's like you're there for the weekend and you've got time to really develop it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a great bit of kit. You enjoy using Madmapper. And I've got so many other cool stuff. So this gig is over, so I'm not going to look at that one again. Let's go. I've got something. Oh, here we go. So this is the ComfyUI. There's been a fair few people talking about this. This is like the AI generator, AI video, photo. It's pretty amazing. Stable diffusion,
Yeah.
See my screen. Yep.
ComfyUI. It's the shit.
It's a business. So me and my friend Dusty, Mr. Peculiar, epic psytrance producer, is actually my neighbor. Makes
Nice.
epic graphics. Big call out to Dusty, legend dude. Our kids go to Steiner school together, and it's like
hell yeah.
Yeah, and so he does amazing graphics, and I saw what he was doing. Like, dude, it took me a while. Like, I was watching AI stuff and going, oh, look, yeah, it's all right. And then all of a sudden, Dusty put something out. I'm like, dude, okay, I'm coming over. And that was like early last year when I saw the frame rate pick up and the videos started to become smoother. All right, cool, this AI video stuff's really getting somewhere. Before that, I was just doing my head in the frame rates and the jittery frames and stuff, and it's like not happening. So just go regionally. Back to regionally. This is some of the stuff that it's going to work. What's going on here? Maybe I can just go. I've got so many things going on here, so I didn't prepare this one too well, did I? Okay, hang on. Why is there a mask? Here we go. This one. So yeah, you get lost in this regimen thing, and I was watching Dave visualize the other day, talking about his set. I'm like, oh, that's the best way to do effects. I'm going to do that from now on because I get lost in the composition effects,
For sure. Dave Actualize, yeah. He's the master of Resolume, for sure. And even for him, it's like, so many things there. You get lost.
Yeah. So your ComfyUI is like another way. Me and Dusty developed this mapping process to generate visuals based on the facade. Do you see my screen?
Yeah. It's like
cool.
It's control net kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it's super trippy. I mean, it's like I just go through generating heaps and heaps of these. I mean, I've just got so many cool visuals. They're just coming out of this, and then big shout out to Sir Spence as well. Like I listened to one of his podcasts and which is go back here. So this is the thing. Spencer's in here as well. Here's his video iterator. That's what he made. CSP. Yeah, I grabbed that one. So basically, then I could. Well, it's a game changer, man. It was like,
is it?
What I can this is massive. So basically, what I've got a folder of image styles. I would pick out, just go through the internet or in Midjourney, make a whole different, even take photos or just find cool images and develop an image folder, then load that into here. That URL for the folder from my computer goes into here, and that's the image director. So the image directory iterator, and every time I render another, so then let's go through the process. So we've got the image folder, all the different styles of images, different. So there's no real image prompts. I don't really have any describing. So I don't really have any text prompts. Sorry, I'm just basic, extremely detailed studio lighting. Not even sure if that does anything. Got some good checkpoint models here. This is some nice ones. This is where Dusty came in to help me find some good models. Then there's a mask, which is just black and white. What play is this? It's a black and white mask. Oh, this is another vibe. And this is like a
more detail.
The control net. Yeah, the line.
The canny.
The line work, and that's Well, I actually generate this in Affinity Photo. Just make lines, and that seems to do a better job than what Canny does for some reason. I don't know. Just the automatic. There is like a Canny generator in here that does it for you, but I just don't seem to get as good results. And just got the settings dialed in pretty well. Then it just gets rendered out at a like 15 frames a second at a pretty, not a huge resolution. The resolution's only like 756 by 560 or something. Not huge, but just upscale it and get a decent image. So this is
beautiful.
After it's been processed with Topaz, upscaled and made in 60 frames a second. It's a really effective way just to make it the content. It's and it's beautiful. I'm really buzzed with this process, and it's a great.
So that image directory is kind of making content based on that image directory. That's like your prompt is the image directory.
Yeah. So then we set up a batch. So
what's animating it?
So
like what's like making it temporal, like between frames?
So
animated.
So
diff.
there's the animate diff.
Yeah, nice.
And there's a shadow laura here. Shadow laura that puts some interesting things in it, but I've got different ones. The abstract neo abstract effects is interesting as well. It's just about dialing settings in and mucking around with it.
Totally.
And you get an output folder. There's recent. Trying to find. This is kind of roots. So you just drag the image in and it reloads that preset.
Yeah, I love that about it. It's so cool.
Yeah, so there's a preset. There's the images for that stage. There's a mapping image and the line work. Yeah, it's a super, like it's a total geek sort of set up this, and I don't really understand so much of this. I was talking with Imri trying to figure out how this works, and it's just like, oh man, such a big learning curve. It's total geek stuff, and honestly, I'm winging this, to be honest. I just tweak stuff and play with it, that ability to sort of mess around with stuff and to get an outcome. So I'll get back to the batching. So so there's extra options here. Then I just go auto cue, and then cue prompt, and that should just generate. Like finds an image and then starts generating. So basically, I can make visuals when I sleep. This is like make money when you sleep. I'm not quite doing that yet, but I'm making visuals while I sleep.
Nice.
And this has been a fun game changer, and it's been really effective. I mean, it's still AI, like it's still a little bit like
It still has that
it's
look,
not,
yeah.
yeah, it's it's a little bit. I'm sure this is gonna change. Still a bit tacky, it's still a bit neon. That's kind of my style. Like things a little bit illuminated. Like hence the phosphorus. I like things that glow in the night, and I don't like things that illuminate themselves, not have to be illuminated. I think that's my kind of style, I guess. If I'm going to look at a style, I like the things that glow, like glowing mushrooms and phosphorescence is my jam.
Nice.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's a good way to make some really interesting content. This I'll keep up to date with this.
Super
I mean,
nice.
once this becomes like once this looks like a 3D model, the moment it looks. Yeah, it doesn't have enough depth in it. It doesn't.
Do you think it
doesn't have
will
that
eventually
real
look like a
picture.
3D model?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, I think so. I think with new Flux models are coming out, which the Flux isn't video yet, as far as I know. But once it becomes like photorealistic in ComfyUI, then as a video, then yeah. I mean, I do. If I want like photorealistic AI stuff, then I would use Runway or Luma, and did some cool stuff with that recently. For the gig last year at Rootbound, where did I? No, I didn't. I don't think I saved it. There was like a bird that I got, and
I think I saw that on your Instagram. That was AI.
Yep. So I took in the.
That's cool.
It's that's last year, year after. Rebound. Runway. Yeah, so
I cool.
Got the bird running. So that was just a photo that John took and used that, and then used it as a photo reference, and painted it super realistic onto the facade. So I just took that photo and just ran it through Runway, and it just animated it.
Yeah, start getting more variations.
Because it brings it back to the beginning, and then starts taking flight.
So you can start from that original photo. That's cool.
Those original photo.
Interesting.
And then flies, and then it returns back to position. So that was a really effective way of using AI that was just like photorealistic. People were like, "How'd you do that? Was that like a photo? You took a frame?" And like always, people were asking the questions, and I like to kind of like leave it in the mystery. Like Wizard doesn't always tell the spell. How you do all the things. But
for sure.
I guess that's what this program is about, right? It's like under the cover, like how do the wizards do the tricks?
For sure.
I guess that's where it's where we're constantly evolve this process by sharing what we do, keeping it as an open platform. Like I'm pretty in this process. I'm pretty sure it's rare as I don't know who else is doing this, but I think it's pretty cool, and I'm not about to give away this workflow, but this is how I'm just showing you how it works, and if people are interested, then let's talk. But I think if someone wants to develop it further, and if someone knows Comfy really well and can get just to another level, then just totally collaborate and keep improving it. But the thing is, this has to be some sort of especially with like stream diffusion now. If this stuff was like real time, stream diffusion,
it's getting close. It's getting close. It's
Absolutely.
just a resolution. But it's still, I mean, it's still not the photorealistic kind of AI stuff. And there's like, animate diff is way more temporal than stream diffusion. Because the animate diff is a little bit more, I mean, it still doesn't really understand like temporalness, but it just looks a little bit more coherent. He did add, Lyle did add the dot simulate stream diffusion. He did add VFV, which is kind, or V2V. I don't know what the actual thing is, but it kind of has like an understanding of the frame before. So it does a little bit of work of trying to make it look good, but it's expensive. It's like then you cut your frame rate in half almost. So there's always a give and take, I think, with the real time AI. But yeah, I mean, it will that will for sure get better and better.
So I'm going to keep on getting better. I know with the new line of GPUs.
But the way I don't know, like I this is like the AI conversation, right? Kind of boring by this point, but it's like one of those things that you kind of look at it and it's like, I don't know, it just kind of always looks like AI to me. And yeah, it might get more crisp and more photoreal, but you can just see like the way that things move, the way that they merge into each other. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's kind of fun, like a bit of novelty, and looks cool, you know, as a feature in some projection mapping. But I wouldn't want to depend on it as the thing that I would do all the time. I find it doesn't have this layer of reality to it for some reason.
It's missing. It's missing like soul or like intention. I don't know. There's something missing in it. And like now, I don't know. Like not all of my Instagram, but a lot of my Instagram and Facebook and feeds are tons of AI videos. Whether it's like jokes, memes, even like, you know, semi quasi real things that like you got to be pretty dumb to think it's real. But like, you know, it's just like a lot of, it's taking over the content space, you know, which is pretty crazy because I didn't think it would be that fast.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's super excited about it. I mean, it might just, you know, slowly become less. People might just become normal soon, and people will get over the fact that they can use ChatGPT to write anything they want, and you know, might just become, you know, then we won't see so much AI stuff because at the moment people are like buzzing on it because it's the thing, you know, it's just
for sure.
It's the now kind of trend, you know. And
it might become like passe almost.
Yeah, it's a matter of time, but you know, it's a handy tool, and it's definitely accelerating the process. You know, like I don't rely on it, and I still haven't yet set up the stream diffusion system yet. Emily's given it to me, but it's like, oh look, you know, I'll run it at some point when it could be great for a kid's Halloween party, for example. You know, that sort of application, super fun
for sure.
Yeah,
be careful. In front
of a screen, and all of a sudden you're
some little kid will write like boobs in it or something, and you'll have like lots of naked women in it.
Yeah. Well, that's a filtering. Like I was talking to Chuck, so that's you might know Chuck. He's big time VJ in Australia, and he's been on it for a long time. And yeah, he's like, I was from Mushroom Valley. He's like massive on the stream diffusion. He's like been processing it, working with the guy who developed it. So I don't know your name.
Lyle. Dot simulate.
Lyle. He's working with Lyle, developing it further. He's got a job with man, like he's just taken it. He's like, this is his thing, you know. He's like traveling with it. So when Chuck, you know, he's going to be pushing it. So I'm just keeping an eye on what Chuck's up to. But he's
cool.
Super awesome dude. Like he did a heap of real time projection mapping in Mushroom last year, and it was like super impressive. You know, heaps of cool stuff.
Nice.
And he's writing the cats, so lots of funky cats coming up all the time. You know. Super cool dude. Love Chuck.
Yes.
So I think that's mainly so here's the pattern stuff in Regling that I do a fair bit of. So these will come into. I need to turn off my Stable Diffusion here because it's like chewing up all my resources. Yeah. Log cancel. Alright. Cancel.
It's like I'm not stopping.
Yeah. So.
So you create masks with those cool mandala stuff. I love that. Interesting.
Yeah. where am I? This was mushroom. This is actually the lid. Here we go. Yeah, lots of polygons so then I would painstakingly trace every single bloody like polygon of the facade as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not lining up. This one I was lucky enough to. The resolution's gone off because of not outputting for some reason. It's a bit weird. Yeah, so it would then retrace. Trying to bring up. Here's the original photo. Because this stuff. And then the slice transform and chaser is another part of the set. It's, I find super handy. Pretty much like opened this project up after my last gig, so it's like it's, mid-show, kind of like okay, closed. Yeah, so it's not it's hard to see what we're doing here, but I retrace all the parts of the facade and make polygons. So basically, like new polygon come here and just would retrace all these parts. So basically, have to retrace the stage twice. There's no way to import vector lines into the advanced output of Regeling, which is like, oh man, it would be so amazing if that was a thing. Because I've got to basically trace it twice. There's a bit of, but I got used to doing this quite fast, and I can punch out hundreds of polygons in an hour or so. Sometimes it gets pretty thick, heaps of polygons. Yeah, so the trick is to trace them all. And I was showing this process to a guy the other day. He's like, "What? I don't understand. Like the slice transform thing. Like this is what we do." So yeah, so like I trace them out as polygons. Then the trick is to disable them, so they're not visible in the advanced output. And all you're running is just the main slice, and then that slice is then the main slice now has the slice transform on it, and then all those slices then come into the slice transform. So you then bring all these slices in. No, that's why I didn't say that. Here's the picture stage. Yeah. Anyway, you've got. Yeah, so all those slices are in here that then they get dragged into the slice transform into here like this, and then that basically slices it all up. So then that can be an effect. I've got masks here. I think up here I've got some content list and here. Yeah, so that's the chaser's doing. So chaser is different to slice transform. Turn chaser off. Yeah, so you can see where I use all those psychedelic patterns that it would make would then get put into all the whatever I've got here. I've got the slice transform. I've got it as mask, but I can make that fill, so then it puts it in. Yeah. It's an interesting effect.
Super nice.
Yeah, it's effective. I mean, like I think the simple things when it comes to mapping, a little bit hectic. It must have been like a high tech set at the end of the night or something.
Right.
Yeah, By the Monday night, you're like, flogging it. So Sludge Transform comes in, and then Chaser then does like all the, this is quite a bit explained as well, but Chaser is super handy as well to then bring in different, then turn those slices off and on. Handy one. That's good on the. So all these effects on the layer here, this is probably going to change pretty soon because it get lost in it. I don't know where things are going now. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the Chaser. So then I can turn the facade off and on through this way.
Nice, that's cool. Like a stepper, but inside of the slide.
Yeah, it's like a stepper. Yeah, so that one's doing something different. Oh, that's and so you have the. I normally have this on an audio reactive as well. It's a nice way to do that. So then it picks up the beat and it just changes to the beat. It's like a nice way to have things real time, interacting, never the same, always reacting with the music.
Nice.
So this is really cool. This is like a laborious way to do it, and like what Imri's doing with touch is like this is like being automated. I'm like, dude, you just done what I've been doing for ages by hand. I just got this process to do it automatically with touch. Super cool. Yeah. But
Imri's
this
new,
is like the manual
new technique.
Yeah,
it's super cool.
Love it, dude. So then Madmapper they come into this as well. I've got different layers to do the line tracing and different little feature things that would show up like on the stage somewhere, like these things, different skulls are always a hit.
Nice.
You should turn up somewhere. It's the layout, and this is all a bit over the shop, but you get the idea. So having like an eyeball or a face, like something to connect to people with something real, like the psychedelic realm's all good, but once there's an eye or a face in the facade, like the connection's there, like people go, wow, I can connect with that on a humane level, The interesting one is actually something real, like an actual face and eyeball. Like the connection can be, there we go. So that's tricky stuff.
Nice. Trippy. Ooh, look at that. Shipibo face opening. I love it. I love it, Blake.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to show us in this realm?
I think it's all. I mean, I could go on. There's so many different techniques and layers we could add to this, but it's like there's so many avenues I'm exploring. Like the real-time 3D stuff, like using Notch and Touch Designer is where I want to sort of grow into learning more and developing the skills. That's like a moment. There's a current learning curve, but
nice.
Don't really want to show those moment because I'm still developing them. So these techniques I've been showing here is something I've been using for a while, but it's a good way to get started, I think, for people.
Definitely.
Simple stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with us. It's really awesome to see so many different tools that you use, so many different techniques that you use, and how you bring them all together into one coherent and pretty sick show. So I have a bunch of topics to talk to you about here, and it's kind of, I'm more than happy to talk more or less about things. So just feel free to move on or or just kind of, use the safe word. I'm joking. So, children, you have two kids, right?
2 kids. Yep.
2 kids. They're a little bit older, I think, right? You have like an older daughter, 2 daughters.
Older daughter. Got a 11 and a 17-year-old. I better get that right.
17 is wild. I can't even imagine.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a new father, so like whenever I have somebody on with kids, it's always nice to kind of like express that in some way, how it you're almost in your second phase of being a parent. Like one is out the door, one is kind of almost a teenager, right? So it's like must be completely different experience. But yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it before when you had your first kid, you kind of had to take a break from things and focus on it, which I think is really admirable and important when you have a kid, or finding the balance at least, So I don't know, is there anything that you can some insight you can give us about kids and the way that you create your art and focus and all the things that are involved there? Please feel free to take it wherever you want.
Yeah, I mean, like having kids is probably like the most bravest thing we can do as a human, because they are the most challenging and amazing thing that's ever happened to me. I mean, like it's been the biggest push to really focus on me and my career and to advance myself. I mean, biggest credit is to my kids to be able to help me develop and evolve as a human. So I think it's really important that we do have kids and support them all. And so it's I've been taking the kids to the festivals as much as they can, and they've been to a lot of them. Like their favorite one is Mushroom Valley, and they go to it every year, and that's our big family festival or gig. But most of the other festivals are a little bit too much for kids, or not really. It's like it's the one that we all go to, and they've been going as little kids, and they love it. It's like I remember like having my youngest in nappies, one of the first Mushroom Valleys, and and them being on my back on like a holder, and they're like be dancing on the dance floor, and they'll just fall asleep. Like they fall to the rhythm of psytrance on the dance floor. So that's they've grown up with it and experienced it.
Nice memories.
It's a way of life. And and then my eldest daughter, she's sort of coming out of high school now, and we're just at a final year, and like I'm asking her, like, what do you want to do? Like, I can teach you, the garden design stuff, or I can teach you the VJ stuff. What do you want to know? Like, I want to know the VJ stuff. Can you teach me that? It's
really
way more fun.
Your older daughter?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, so she's she's super creative and amazing drawer, and she likes the music now. She's like she was a bit off by music earlier, but now she's like getting into it. Not that she listens to psytrance, but she's sees me and sees what we do there, and really does potentially she'll get involved, and I can teach her what I know, and I can she can be my little prodigy, but we'll see.
Your little prodigy. She'll carry the stuff for you.
Yeah, got to start somewhere. Yeah, so
nice.
That's
it's definitely life changing. It's definitely a life changing experience. Kind of makes you think a little bit differently about things and looks differently about things, and I also think it's a pretty important experience. Obviously no judgment, and it's not for everybody, and everybody has their choice, but I think if you have the means and you have a little bit of an inkling of like responsibility, and especially if you're like spiritual or connected to some sort of energetic ideology or something like that, whatever it may be, it's a pretty cool human experience for sure.
Well, I mean, I think it's important that the conscious, healthy people have kids, because everyone else is doing it and they're not that,
They're dumb motherfuckers, yeah.
Yeah, like The Age of Stupid, that like movie. Oh man,
what is that one? Idiocracy.
Idiocracy. We watched it recently. It's like America these days, right?
Yeah, for sure.
going that way. So it's interesting, right? So, I think it's good to do it early, get it over and done with. And that's my bit of advice, because it's important that you have kids, and if we can raise them properly, I mean, we're gonna fuck them up regardless, but we just do our best.
Yeah.
We've all got our traumas, not perfect, but we just keep working on ours, and we can share our insights and hopefully raise better humans.
Do you find it like psychedelic in like the sense of just and maybe it's different when your kids are older, but like I find it very psychedelic, like with my kid, when just the way he grows up and like the way his mind is kind of evolving. Excuse me, and like he's like a sponge, and every day he like grows in a different way and learns a new thing, and then the next day he's like a different kid, and it's like it's so interesting to see the consciousness develop in that way, and like see it close up, that it's wild. I'm sure like as they get older it's like a different type of evolution, right? Like hormones change and they become adults, or they become young adults, they become teenagers, they start to form full sentences.
Yeah,
Start to
yeah.
have crazy
Well,
ideas and stuff.
well, the evolution of the child's development is super interesting. Like, if our kids are going to the Steiner school, so Steiner education. So Steiner developed
Oh,
like
Steiner.
like
Nice.
Steiner, yeah,
Yeah.
German,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So he
think
developed
no.
the
I don't
Swiss,
know about maybe Swiss. Yeah, the other one is German.
yeah,
What's it called? The anthroposophic. Anthroposophic is
yeah.
German.
Um, yeah, so that's, I mean, so Steiner School is about the head, heart, and hands, and developing the child's imagination, and nurturing them in song and creativity. So it's like such a
Mm,
beautiful education. We're blessed. There's the one just around the corner from where we live, and
nice.
so my girls have gone through there, and I've just, I wish I went to that sort of school. I just got so fucked up and didn't felt I didn't do well, and I was you know, wasn't like my creativity wasn't nourished as a young age, And for
Mm,
these girls, they're just getting that from the beginning in preschool, and
isn't
not
that
rushing them
nice?
into like having to read and write and do math like super early. Like kind of like they blossom later for the Steiner. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a beautiful system, and yeah, they're just like so imaginative, and yeah, it's just like a different way of developing. So yeah, I'm really happy with that opportunity that we've had to
Being able
go through.
to give our kids like an experience that like we know is good but we never had is such a nice feeling. Like, I went to my first party when I was a young adult, but I brought like my kid to the parties now when he's a baby, and like hopefully he'll go when he's a toddler and when he's older, and it's like being able to expose him to that world, which I know can be very, very, very positive and can be life changing at such a young age, is such a blessing. Like I had to wait till I was adult. Um, we sat in a ceremony last year, and we brought him along with us. Not he wasn't in the ceremony, but he was in the vicinity, and came in and out kind of thing, and like just I only experienced that in my late 20s, and like he's getting to be part of it so early on. I just feel like that's such it's like that, it's like what you're saying. It's the conscious people bringing up children, making the world in somewhat a better place. Hopefully, I think is a real blessing. It's obviously fucking
Yeah,
hard, but it's a blessing. Often
yeah, yeah.
the hardest things are the biggest blessings, right?
Exactly. Like we have to challenge ourselves to grow. If we don't have a challenge, it's like sitting in with medicine. It's hard. It's like the work. You got to. It's like raising kids. It's like it's hard, and you wake up in the middle of the night and do the thing, and do what needs to be done. And raise kids is
Mm,
like difficult, but it's like the rewards are massive. It's so
mm,
needed. It's such a rewarding thing, and yeah,
totally.
I love the process and seeing them develop, and yeah, it's
That's exciting. So what's your daughter's name? If we can, I don't know if it's maybe we don't say her name. Never mind. Doesn't matter her name. But your daughter is going to be a great VJ, and I'm excited to see her coming up and seeing what she can do. If she has you as a mentor,
yeah,
she can only soar very high. So that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Well, I think
Speaking of,
like I'm.
No, sorry.
So I think I'm just gonna give her like some little tips, like what to get into first, and just remembered like I discovered touch design like 20 years ago, and it was like this is like a thing I realized like this is like my headspace has changed around money mindsets change a bit, because 20 years ago I was like this like felt couldn't afford stuff, and back then I couldn't like touch design it cost money, right, and I couldn't find a crack for it, so I didn't buy it. So I didn't learn it, didn't use it 20 years ago, in 20 years if I had have bought it back then, it would just be like the absolute touch master by now. But it would just be like a total like back then it was I was in a news agency reading a magazine, and it's like an article about touch design. I'm like, oh, this
Really?
is cool. Like, yeah,
That's cool.
and I'm like, oh, I can't afford it, so then I didn't buy it. And so the only way I've been able to gain and move forward in what I'm doing now in the visuals is actually investing that financial money into buying the tools. So 98% of the tools I use now I own. I have licenses for. And once I started doing that, things started really accelerating. So
interesting. Like
it's like
investing
that
in
money
yourself.
exchange.
Like
Investing,
the energy exchange, right? Like the energy exchange.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I don't have a lot of money, but I'm gonna invest it in this thing that's really important to me, and that's gonna kind of bring more, abundance in that certain thing. I mean, that's like the energetic exchange is like, so when it comes to software, it's very easy. It's easy, right? Because it's just buy the thing, learn it. You're gonna be good at it. It's like it's a
it's
direct
just like
direct
I've
thing.
had cracked versions of everything forever, and I'm like, no, I'm done with this. Like, there was part of medicine was like, actually get legit. It's like a lesson. It's like, okay, I'm gonna
Wow,
get legit.
interesting.
And so once
I
I've
have that
changed
with
that, and it's this,
was that something from the medicine of like don't crack your
yeah,
games, don't
yeah,
crack your
yeah,
apps.
yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
Like,
You
okay,
think
all right,
what is like
okay.
an Adobe version of a medicine? It's like Adobe's like sponsoring medicines
Yeah,
now, and they're like,
yeah. Look out. Well, it's just like legitimacy and integrity, goes a long way. And
totally.
it's
It
just
shifts the energy for sure. I feel that like with video games, I haven't bought a video game I think since I owned a console, for like maybe like 20 years or 10, 15 years. And like my relationship with video games is so different because I'll like play it for like an hour, and if it's not like super good, I'll be like, whatever. I don't care about it. I'm not going to go back
yeah,
to it.
right.
And even if it's like super good, I'll play it for like I'll get into it, but then I'll reach a point where it's like, nah, maybe I won't touch it for a year or whatever. And it's like such a weird
Yeah,
relationship because when you buy a game, you're like, I'm going to beat it right now. I'm going to spend.
yeah.
I remember when I bought GTA, like maybe 5, or it must have been GTA 5 so long ago. No, 4. 5 was like, I guess, recent-ish. But 4, the big one, I remember like playing it for like 10, 15 hours straight, just like, I am going to get good at this game, and I wonder if I would have cracked it, if I would have even cared as much. It's an interesting kind of
Yeah.
that is a really interesting exchange.
Well, like I've only bought games. I've only been getting into gaming recently, and I bought It Takes Two. It's a super
Which was
awesome
that?
game that I play with my girls.
I don't know that one.
It Takes Two.
It's
It's
a
like
good one.
only two player game.
Okay.
So you got to play it with someone else, and it's like
Like
the whole way.
locally too, or it's
Yeah,
on
well, I've only played locally with my girls. So it's like we play together. We bought at Christmas time, and we played it over
so
the holidays, and like it's super psychedelic. It goes through like these different realms, and every stage is different. You got to work together, and goes into like the mirror kaleidoscopic space, and it's just like it's super fun and super well done. Like one of these awards.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's So we've talked that a couple of times now.
Do your kids play a lot of games? Are they into like Minecraft and Roblox and all that kind of stuff?
Back earlier, my oldest was into
Fortnite.
Minecraft and
Minecraft.
a little bit. No, see, that's a Steiner thing. Like basically, there's no television, no screen time during the school week.
Oh, interesting.
So we've kept that rule. That's part of the agreement we have with the Steiner school is that they don't do screen during the week. Weekend it's on, like watching TV and watching whatever, doing the thing. But yeah, so that means in the week. It's not a thing. It's not
No
a
phones either.
no.
Limited or just none? None.
Well, well, well. My youngest now, because she's still in primary, so she's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely no. She doesn't have a phone.
Nice. That's awesome.
She's 12 this year. No, she's going to get a phone when she's 14. So yeah, we're pretty limited on the screen time, But
That's
I'm,
great.
what I do, like I do screens, I do visuals, like it's
Yeah.
screens are
Yeah.
like it's a thing,
They
and they
know
see
what
me
it
all
is. Of course.
slowly, and like yeah, so it's been a good way to not make that a problem in the family. Because I know what, like putting the screen down at dinner time, it's like you just don't have that issue, I don't
That's
have a
awesome.
problem with like a weekly routine is screen free. So it's, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
now that
think
my
it's
oldest she's a teenager, like she's into the snaps and all that, and that's the thing now. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you're just looking at that. What are you taking a photo of now? Like, that's not. It's like some stupid photos of me for friends to keep the things going on and that. It's like,
yeah, the
I don't
content
understand what
going.
you're doing. It's a bizarre world with TikToks
It
and snaps
is.
and stuff, but
It is. I mean, even for for babies, like the screens are so. I mean, we don't allow we don't not that we don't allow. He's so young, so it's really like he doesn't even know what it is. But the screens, like we just don't do it. And I have some friends that they do allow their toddlers to watch TV or have the iPad because it's a super easy thing to keep them preoccupied. But
definitely.
I mean, and again, no judgment. Like, do what you want with your kids, but it just I see a difference in the attention of my boy because like I brought him to an arcade, like to like an old school arcade, and he's like obsessed with like all the flashing lights and all the buttons. But
Mm.
then when I'm like, hey, look at the thing, play like move the thing, but look, you're doing this thing. He doesn't understand that like the
Mm.
screen is like the force of attention, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like for him it's like the noise and the lights and the buttons and the tactile, and
Yep.
that's like so much better than him being like, oh, I'm moving a character on a screen. Like he'll learn that. That's
Mm-hmm.
like not a skill, like that's just like, and like even with
Yep.
with movies, like we try to I try to watch with him The Jungle Book because that's like one of my favorite Disney movies, and he'll be interested for like 5-10 minutes, super engaged, and then like, okay, next thing, not interested.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's
this, yes, like I think it can give me the age as well. Sometimes some kids just aren't. Yeah, the age. Yeah, it's interesting. Every kid responds
well, I mean,
differently, but
every kid's differently,
yeah,
but I like I have a friend who um his
of the
kid
same
watches a
age.
lot
Is
of
this child the same age? Yeah,
pretty much
yeah.
same age, maybe like half a few months older. And he's like, if you sit him down in front of the TV, he'll watch like an hour of TV, like like Miss Rachel, all that kind of YouTube kid stuff. No judgment, but I just love it because it's like his relationship is different with it. And now we started showing him videos of his cousin of my niece, and that's what he wants to see on the phone. He's like, I want to see the baby. I want to see the baby, and then he'll like
Mm-hmm.
stare at it for like a good 10 minutes, and so it like kind
Mm-hmm.
of can calm him down, so it's like it's being used as a tool, like a good parent
Oh,
tool,
definitely.
but the content is like not fucking with his brain, or it's just like, it's his cousin,
Yeah,
it's like, I don't know, I think there's something about that that's like, and again,
yeah.
the Miss Rachel stuff and all that kind of Coco Melon, all that stuff, there's, I'm sure it's not harmful, like most of it's positive, like developmental stuff, but I feel like he's gonna have his whole life to watch TV and watch screens and get developmental stuff from media and content, that I feel
Mm-hmm.
like there's so much more time that he could spend on like playing with a toy, or getting better at his
Yeah,
Legos or whatever it is.
totally. Yeah, I mean, it's an easy thing to fall into. And like my eldest, when she was little, she you did get the phone when she was little, and it was like we watched movies and um, up until she started school, then we realized, oh, we can't. That's not a thing now. But earlier on, it's an easy thing for parents to fall into. It's like, oh, they all of a
Totally.
sudden
That's why I
they're
no
not
judgment, because it's like
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
switch. You see kids at a restaurant. You know,
Mum, dad need a break right now. And
But
this is
then,
working for us. And
and again, like, no judgment, but there is something with the chicken or the egg, I think, here. Like, you know, our maybe some kids have weird attention spans, but I feel like if you train, quote unquote, them, or not train, what's the word? get them used to something. Like if you get them used to something and that thing is a blue light screen with flashing colors and movement, they might start needing that in order to calm down. And maybe, like when you see kids freaking out and the parent gives them a screen, maybe it's because they gave them the screen to begin with that they freaking out. I don't know. I'm not saying that like as a rule. Don't
Yeah.
God, please don't test me with a ADD kid, like, but there's something to that, like, yeah, like I don't think all kids are just all of a sudden like super misbehaviors and they need to have like focus attention span for like 20 minutes on like a screen. If my kid freaks out at a restaurant, I give him like a little car to play with and he's super happy. Or like finding something to draw and whatever, and he it's like you could
Yeah.
replace it, and maybe that thing that you're using is actually exacerbating that thing that you're trying to suppress. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. As I said, like we're gonna fuck them up some way or another. If it's just
Yeah,
trying to at
for
least
sure.
fuck them up a little bit less than
Mrs.
you can,
Rachel. Yeah, that's so
Like
funny.
it's inevitable we're gonna do something wrong, but it's
For
just
sure.
we just do our best, right? And
For
that's
sure.
the main thing. And like humans are super adaptable and resilient. I've got family friends are just like been doing all these wrong things. They're just like, whoa, are you doing that? Well, I bet okay, but they turn out to be pretty good kids, and they're
Yeah.
adaptable, and they turn out to be all right. And like all the judgment I had at the window, so it's like, oh well. So
Interesting.
humans are super resilient and adaptable, and yeah, as long as we're not overly traumatized, it's the main thing, I guess.
Totally.
Bit of screen time, not gonna hurt.
So shifting a little bit to, I mean, they're connected for sure, but psychedelics. You mentioned sitting in ceremony. Obviously you're very connected to the patterns and the, we can call it the sacred. You said it, modern magic, which I love. The light magic, as it were. Do you have any anecdotal information in this regard to, the connection between, and again, please take it to wherever you want. I'm more than happy to just to talk about it, but I would call it, a frequency energetic meeting of frequency energetic beings that are all kind of being tuned into one experience, with the dance floor being like a temple, the stage being like an altar, the music being like a frequency, the sound, the lights being like a frequency, and all of those things kind of culminating. Dancing, obviously, is a super frequency, culminating into
Mm-hmm.
some sort of. I don't love the word spiritual, but it's a great word to express that, to kind of some sort of altered state or higher state of being,
Yeah.
and obviously having a role in that is special and feels interesting, to say the least. So like, yeah, is there anything that you
Yeah.
can add to that? What's your take
Mm-hmm.
on it?
Yeah. Like it's super important. I mean, what you said there is what like it's the alternative experience. It's the alternative reality. It's the place that's not this world. And we go to these festivals and listen to psychedelic music, and we start adding the visuals and the decor and the stage and the and then we start taking psychedelics, and it's like, wow, we're in a whole nother world, and we can have these altered spaces. And for me, that's been where I've learned the most, where I've like been on these dance floors, listened to psychedelic music and on some really good acid, and just gone, wow. And it's all the messages, all the information, all the good things start coming up, and I just feeling like
Mm,
super clear and super energetic and
mm,
responsible and healthy. That's just for me, like the dance floor and the psychedelic scene has been like my church. It's where I've gained the most. Well, gained,
insight.
yeah, been where I've developed myself and the passions I have and the
Mm,
clarity and develop my life from. And
mm,
so I was explaining this to my daughter the other day. It's like, like the dance floor seems like these lots of adults getting around and they're taking drugs and, they're
mm,
listening to weird music and, explaining to her like the reason why I do this is to lift and to make like to make the the experience like a multiplier. So it's like 1+1 is 3, and not 2. It's actually like it's a multiplier effect, and when visuals are synced up with the music in a perfect way, that there's for me, I start getting tingly. I start like feeling, getting this altered state where things are tuned in when the flow state's happening, and the music's on point, and it's just you don't necessarily need psychedelics. Like these days, there's so much beautiful content and visuals, and the music's like developing, and the stages are epic. People come to me and like, man, I don't need drugs. Like, what are you doing here? I'm just sitting here watching this stuff, and the experience is just incredible. And thank you so much. It's like, wow, this is the reason why I do it. Is not to, I guess it like makes people not need to take so many drugs when the environment is just so beautiful, and you don't need to get so off your face. And I think that's what these festivals. It's what people are doing, but it's not so necessary to feel those spaces from because of what we can create now. It's one of the reasons why I do it, and it's the psychedelic realm is a beautiful place, and I was talking, I just made this observation. I could be totally wrong. But when I was at the recent festival, there was a psytrance stage, and it was a beautiful space. There wasn't much rubbish around. It was like a pretty well kept stage after a few days. And I go to the other stage, and it's like the techno stage, and it's just like rubbish everywhere. It's just like this trash environment. I'm like, okay, so does the psychedelic world make people more conscious? Is this the reason? Is the hard techno is like it's more base level. It's more. This is my observation. People can probably talk to me and argue this point, but this is what I think. And it's like the base level frequency of the music attracts those certain people. And people feel more trashy. They just chuck shit around, and like they don't. Go back to the trance space in the psychedelic world. It's like people are more conscious. There's less rubbish. It just I think that's where I sit. That's the reason why I do this. It's like it's where I get the most feedback from is these beautiful psychedelic worlds and these stages and the visuals that make it happen with the music. And it's a huge passion of mine. I love those moments where things really are keyed in and epic.
Hell yeah.
And seeing stuff that like watching the videos of like Modem and these massive festivals overseas, and like, oh wow, it's in like some of the stuff that Taz does, like when there's like these moments with like those the frequency that he gets into is like it's so popular because of the patterns and the way he puts it together. It's simple, but it works, and that's one of huge inspiration. It's like, well, and this is like those ideas. It's come from medicine. It's come from those patterns of nature, and it comes from those DMT worlds of living patterns in everything. I think that's one of if we can identify patterns in things, and there's beauty in that. I guess that's where like with nature, there's set range of patterns. And this is what these patterns is what I use in my permaculture design process. Is a look at the patterns of nature and design landscapes based on them. That's kind of that's the approach that I use for my visuals as well. It's like I'm using these natural based patterns and those ideas that come from nature is the greatest inspiration of existence is this natural world, and bring that into everything I do is the biggest challenge. And it's a matter of just keep applying and practicing those techniques, and things can get really cool, and it doesn't have to be overcomplicated.
Wow, super eloquent and potent words about psychedelics and the kind of the nature of reality. I think it's you said a lot of really smart things there. I love how you brought it back to permaculture. I'd love to talk to you a little bit about that. And you're so you're very lucky that your secondary job or your kind of secondary passion, not secondary, that makes it secondary, but your alternate passion I don't know if that's probably even worse. Your
the other
the other the other your what is it, parallel, your parallel passion.
parallel, yeah.
Your parallel passion of
Mm-hmm.
permaculture is like you said, it's connected to nature, it's connected to, you're gonna obviously explain it a little bit better than I am, but I think in general, when you're farming, when you're working outside, when you're, with plants and gardening, and especially the ethos of permaculture, where it's like use nature as your guide, don't try to work against nature, work with it. That's like, very related to the visuals that me and you like to do of like, bringing in the nature, bringing in the messages, bringing in the hidden codes and like these kind of like higher dimensions, not going, the metaphor is breaking a little bit, but my point is that I think that it's cool that you have these two things that are interconnected and they kind of meet at, look how beautiful nature is, look how amazing, the natural order of things can be. So yeah, please tell us about permaculture. Maybe even give us like a little bit of the ethics, because I think the ethics are really interesting, because that's what really makes it very special. Yeah, please let us know.
Yeah, well, so like, yeah, I've, like started my career like learning about computer design graphics, and then, as a young person, discovered permaculture. I mean, wow, that's the most coolest thing, because it connects things together. So one of the principles of permaculture is each element may perform multiple functions. So it's about connecting things together in the most efficient way and practical possible. So I learned about this concept as a 16-year-old and sort of benchmarked it. And that's cool. One day I'll do that. And 10 years later, I went, okay, I have my first child. I need to actually do something else. And props to my partner at the time. She's like, "You going to do this permaculture thing?" I'm like, "Okay, all right, I'll do this." And one of the having strong women is also one of the biggest growth and that I've always had as well. Like, big props to beautiful women that have been in my life. Like, my current partner that's just pushed me to continue to grow, and never mind the children. Like, it's been one of the amazing things. So
That's beautiful.
Getting back to it. So what is permaculture? So like, it's a method of design that seeks to regenerate the planet while feeding us and supporting all our needs. So food, fiber, medicine, shelter is in a nutshell what it is. So the ethics are, people care, fair share, earth care are the main three ethics. Then you've got the 12 principles, which is obtaining a yield, each element may perform multiple functions, creditably respond to change, so forth. There's a bunch of these principles which are like,
I love it.
Guiding, like they're kind of like, it's like a guiding useful principles that we can use in everyday life. It doesn't necessarily need to be used for gardening. It can be
Totally
used for any application of life. So my partner, she also does it as well, and we work together and do courses. And she's done a whole lot of invisible structures. Yeah, Earth Mama, she's epic,
wow.
epic woman. So she does like the whole lot of the social side of things, so the invisible side of things, not necessarily the garden. It uses permaculture as the framework to develop community structure.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah, so it's not really just for gardening. It's like a way of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a design method. It's a method of design, not a garden technique, so to speak.
It's not farming, you're saying.
I mean, that's the application of it. You can farm by like poisoning the soil and digging around and sticking. And that's
I totally regret associating you with farmers. I take it back.
But you can be a permaculture farmer and a regenerative farmer, and you're doing things for the plant.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just because I want to direct this in some way to connect to, because I think that you'd be a really cool person to connect this idea of the ethos of permaculture, right? Of like the regenerativeness into art creation or into content creation. Do you think about that at all? Like how they're there's a lot of parallels that can be related to each other?
Uh, yeah, I mean,
Very
I guess that's
esoteric.
why I don't render graphics, right? I don't spend
Mm,
hours laboring over rendering graphics because it's inefficient use of my time. So
yeah.
it's about efficiency, right? How can we
Mm,
efficiently use, sure, I'm like burning the GPU while I'm doing a show, more so than it would be than just, playing clips. But, there's a tie off there. So, yeah, I mean, it's, I feel, when we're burning diesel to run these festivals in the bush, I feel responsible, like, how can we make this more sustainable? But, it's like the tie off, ideally I want to be able to inspire people to be more conscious and look after themselves in their friends and community and the planet while I'm doing the visuals, So I'm trying to weave in, conscious themes, and I think, I don't make it directly, I don't want to make, big words up there, save the planet or anything like that. That's not what I do. But, it's I try and like bring in the nature and just inspire people to connect with themselves, and nature is fundamental to it. Um,
mm.
yeah, so that I try and merge these worlds, but it's an interesting place to be, right? Like I I, I map stages with projection, and I map landscapes with permaculture. Is kind of like what I do, the main focus, and
Do you bring in the
it's
opposite? Do you bring in your visuals and your kind of like aesthetic into your permaculture designs?
well, I mean, there's so much of it has to be functional. I mean, like I would love to do like a fractal style garden, but when it comes down to usability, it's like there's so much edge, so much, makes it difficult to maintain. When
Mm.
that because I live in the tropics, we have so much growth. We have like the plants just gone ballistic. Like maintenance is a huge thing. Being able to keep up with the plant growth, you know, I'd probably do more geometric pattern design stuff in temperate areas where there's less maintenance issues. I mean, it's like I do like with permaculture looks at the nature of like the nature of pattern nature, and there are some cool things like I would um, do like banana circles or herb spirals, for example, or like these like nature based designs that like patterns in nature that can be applied to garden design. And there is those things that
Well,
like it's about using patterns that are at the appropriate scale. Is
right,
what
like
is
but
what I use.
like nature has so many patterns, right? Like I mean like so many patterns throughout nature, whether it's pine cones, tree branches, like all these systems, right? So like and if permaculture is about mimicking that, right, in some way or at least like
Mhm.
going with it, there must be even like just by naturally putting things in their most efficient place must create some sort of pattern, right, in some way.
Oh, definitely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've done these plans before where like it's the appropriate scale is where it's at. So you wouldn't
Scale.
want to do like a super intricate garden design based on a fractal because it's like you can do like there's mandala gardens and you can do it, but it's you can't just apply the pattern of nature at any scale and expect it to work. So it has to. So it's like there's time and and in scale. Like there's growth in time. We're working on 3 dimensional scale here. It's so many things, so many factors like working
Well,
with
four
with
dimensions with
nature.
time as well.
Well, yeah, time exactly. So yeah, the appropriate scale. So I did this plan once where I did like the zoning plan. So basically, that's like a zoning plan is an overlay. So we do these layers of design in the design process, designing the garden. So one of them is like a zoning plan. That's like the different circles or areas around the house, and each within each zone is like you place the things you need the most within those in the closest zones around the house. And as you go further away, you place things that are less needed.
Less important.
So you get these like organic patterns that form based on the way we interact with the landscape.
Super
And in
cool.
doing this, and another pattern of nature, which is then do like a sector analysis, and that's like a circle, which is the sun path over the sky, and then
Mm,
you've got like, the winds coming in, you've got the fire sector, you've
mm,
got these different energy flows that flow through the site, and that's another
mm.
layer of design, another pattern that would overlay on the plan. And from these layers, I then start placing in the garden beds and basing the garden elements based on these patterns of nature. and from what I've done before, someone's like, oh, that's the Fibonacci sequence. So that's like the
Pi or
the golden spiral pi.
golden
It's like,
ratio.
Then I sort of step back and, well, I've just actually done like a spiral pattern in this garden plan. It was like, wow, there you
That's
go.
so cool.
So this geometry comes through this way of applying.
There's got to be some sort of like super fascinating, even like noise, right? Like noise is going to be based upon like Brownian noise, like air particles, or fluid noise patterns, like so.
Scattering is a pattern,
right? It's a pattern, right? And if it's
scatter is a pattern.
Yeah, 100%. Like noise is, it's like the beauty and chaos. Like everything's kind of random, but there's actually some sort of design to it, which again comes back a little bit to, psychedelics, esoteric spirituality of like this design. And again, it's like one of these, words like God, intelligent design, all these things. I don't like the label of it. I just like the concept of it, of like the, even if the intelligence is evolution, just as like a function, it's still like got this beautiful and amazing way of like directing things, in like some symbolism that seems to be very beautiful, very beautiful. Like pine cones are fucking beautiful. Like, why?
Yeah, why? I mean,
why?
Well, they're like the pineal gland, right? It's the shape of a pine cone.
Yeah, there you go.
So there's, you see these, it's super interesting how, like our fingertips, it's the ratios, it's like these, like 1 is to 2 is to 3 is to 5 is to, that Fibonacci sequence. Like our body is, we fit into
We're tuned to it, totally tuned to
this ratio,
it, right? Yeah.
Exactly. If we can tune our visuals, or we can tune our garden design, or whatever you're doing, into these patterns, and things all of a sudden start looking super awesome, and they can really work. It's what you see those. I bought these made of mine. So Adam Scott Miller, the artwork behind Epic Artist, most amazing. That's his soul.
What's his name? What's his name one more time?
Adam Scott Miller.
Adam Scott Miller.
Adam Scott Miller is from the States.
Sounds really familiar.
Amazing. Yeah, I think most psychedelic visionary artists up there with Alex Gray.
Nice.
And
let's check them out.
Yeah, I gave him like these calipers once, these fire calipers. So it's like expanded apart, and you can resize and always be in scale,
ratio, in some ratio
in
to
the golden
each other.
ratio, So
that's sick.
Yeah,
you gave him them?
Yeah, I bought the set for him once, and
wow.
I mean, we used to always give each other like different psychedelic kind of like geometric.
Sick.
Yeah, Adam is amazing artist. Beautiful.
I know this one I've seen before. So beautiful.
Yeah, so his daughter is now with my ex-partner, so we're basically family. Yeah.
Wow, hell yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. Wow, Blake, I mean, it's been so much fun talking to you. I could talk to you forever. And it was great to see your process and workflow and techniques. I just really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time. And is there anything
great sharing with you?
Share with us.
Yeah, just to be able to like, it's been so good actually to put this all into a conversation, because it's like no one's really gone through this with me before, and I'm like, I wasn't too sure whether I was going to be able to share enough, but clearly there's a lot going on there. So it's great. Thank you so much for allowing me to share what my life is like, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Wow, what an episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Mantis Smash for the intro and outro music. Thank you to Sophie Holder for the amazing internship helping us with all the episodes. And thank you to the guests for coming on and spending time with us. See you next week.